You're listening to Heroes in the Moment. What's up, heroes? I'm Michael.
And I'm Nathan.
And today we're breaking down the first episode of The Penguin.
Give it to me, Matt
Dude,
Reeves.
I'm so excited. This show, man, we've been hyped for it for a very long time now. Ever since we first heard it was going to happen after the success of The Brilliant, The Batman, that came out in 2022. And now we've got The Penguin here in 2024, 2 years later. And from where I'm standing, it is brilliant.
It's brilliant. Also, how is that Colin Farrell still?
Colin Farrell, man.
That's a different man entirely.
He's so good in this role, man.
When I forget it's him.
I know.
I just see Penguin. That's all I see.
Penguin.
That's all
exactly. I'm not
As
taking
it
out.
should be, but
exactly. Like genuinely, like he is that character.
He's killing it.
He's killing it so good. And I love seeing this character who, instead of, making him more so vulnerable or giving him a little bit of heart, like he's bad. And I love it. Yeah. Like, especially like in the opening scene when he just throws a body down the stairs just because he didn't want to carry it. That was hilarious. But it was also like fits his character so well. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole scene with Alberto and
that was my favorite scene. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But just an amazing so far aspect of this show. The acting was amazing. The visuals is great.
They captured Gotham so well.
They captured it so well.
Camera work was awesome.
It was just so perfect. It felt like we were right back in the world of the Batman, but at the same time different. Yeah. Which I liked. I think that's a good thing. Yeah. It's not necessarily, I wasn't looking around for Batman. Instead, I was looking and focused on Penguin, which was super cool.
So cool.
All right, so let's talk about that opening scene here in particular. Like I said, it was my favorite of the show so far. What do you think?
Man, it was brilliant. So as we see, he's going there to the old Iceberg Lounge. As we see,
a week after the flood.
A week after. So you see people are still, recovering. There's water coming through his ceiling. So he's going there to take Falcone's stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Was it his diamonds?
Yeah.
And
some of his dirt he had on people.
Yeah, some other dirt. So he gets in there and he's confronted by Alberto
Falcone, Carmine's son.
So we see like the first example of him just being able to talk his way out of situations. Yep. He is so good.
He reminds me of Saul Goodman in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Like he talks himself out of everything. And he has that very wit about him, and we see that later with Sophia Falcone as well, which Sophia is so good too. I'll mention that later.
Terrifying.
He
reminds me of Cersei Lannister, the way with the way he manipulates the gangs and other people, right? And he's always like, I'm on his side, but he's always a step ahead.
Yes,
brilliant,
just like that. That's perfect. I completely agree. So we get into it in the scene with Alberto. He just starts talking his way. He's like, "Oh no, I'm here for you. I'm here throwing my support for you and your way." But Alberto actually sees through him.
Yeah.
At first
he's a scumbag too, and he knows him pretty well.
And Alberto, he's drinking, he's drugs, he's all of this stuff, which Penguin wanted him to do. Yeah. That. And then he starts making fun of Penguin and laughing at him. After brilliant scene where Penguin is discussing his story from his childhood about this guy who was really revered, and I loved how it was just zooming in on his face the entire time he was telling the story. It was silent. Nobody was talking. You couldn't hear nothing but Penguin and his story. And then it's broken by Alberto making fun of it and saying that's who you want to be, and that's hilarious to him.
A low life gangster.
Yeah, you will never amount to this, that, or whatever. And then you just get the instant shot.
Bah, bah, bah.
Bah, bah, bah. It was so perfect, and I was expecting it. Were you?
I was.
I was expecting it, but at the same time, it was cool. It was like just really awesome to get that scene.
And it really lays the foundation for Penguin's character, right? His first instinct when he's confronted, right, is manipulating, getting his way out of the situation, which he does successfully.
Then he gets angry.
Then he lets his anger take control. He gets impulsive because he's made fun of. And as you see, obviously, with his disability, with his right foot, obviously he takes those things very seriously.
Yep. That's a big part of his character. Is he's very much a serious guy. He very much does not like to be bullied, and he takes everything to heart. So that's a big effect to his character as Penguin, which they captured really well in old Oz Cobb. Yeah.
I think it was really interesting that Alberto saw through him the whole time. They present him as an addict and a junkie, which he is, but a lot of characters later in the show, they know it, but they continue to let him do his stuff.
Right.
He knew, like, from the get-go.
He knew. He did know. Which was cool. But then we see Penguin, he's laughing after what he did, and then he's like, crap, because he realizes how much we have to do.
Up the body.
And that sets the stage for the rest of the show, because that's going to be a core aspect, because his goal is he wants to take over Carmine Falcone's business. He wants to be the kingpin. Yeah. Is his goal.
Maroni, too.
Yeah,
he wants
Maroni. He wants both. Guy. He does. He wants Gotham in his hands, essentially. And And that's like his first step. Then he's thinking, oh crap, I got to solve this. I got to stop with this family and all of this good stuff. So, hide the body. And then he goes outside, and some punk kids are trying to steal his Maserati, which is a beautiful car.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's such a nice purple. Car. I think that says a lot about his character too. Is that he's not trying to
hide,
blend in.
Yeah, he's just
trying to make a name
he loves the
for
flashy
himself.
stuff because he never had that probably growing up. So he's like, I want to be flashy. I want people to know I'm coming. Which is interesting. And then we meet Vic, a character that he catches as one of the kids that's still in the car. And
they're trying to take the rims off it.
Yeah, trying to take the rims and all this stuff. And Colin Farrell here, just again, so good because he's really like, I was scared of him almost when it was coming. Like, and that kid, and Vic did a good job, that whoever the actor is for him, of showing that scare. Like he was genuinely terrified of getting killed.
Yeah.
And then Penguin was like, okay, I got some use for you. You can help me with this body and stuff. But all in all, though, in reality, I'm not a huge fan of Vic and his story. Like, I feel like the show would be better without him. Like, if you had him just for episode 1 and then you killed him or you let him go or something like that.
Which he almost did like 2 or 3 times.
Right. But instead you're keeping him around. I don't know. I just feel like it kind of takes me out of the story a little bit. I know they're trying to ground Penguin with his character. That's Vic's kind of job, is to ground him, have kind of this mentorship with him. But to my knowledge, there's no Vic in the comics, and there's no rhyme or reason to give him a little humanity, because I don't really necessarily want to see that when it comes to Penguin. So I'm not a huge fan of the Vic storyline.
Yeah. I'm with you. From what I've seen, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. Like you said, obviously they're trying to ground his character.
Yeah.
And as we see that earlier when he's talking with Alberto, he wants to make a name for himself, but he still has a heart for kids who grew up like him, right? With not much, with the disability. As we see with Vic, he has that speech impediment, so he has a gun up to him, and when Victor's begging for his life, he can barely get the words out. You start to see like empathy kind of watch over Penguin's face,
and that's a big thing.
I thought it was cool, at least.
I thought it was cool, but I don't. I guess it's kind of nice to give Penguin a little bit of empathy, but at the same time, it's like I don't want him to be empathetic, because at least not right now, because he's still this ruthless guy. They're trying to ground him. And I don't necessarily think that they should.
I think there's room for little empathy for where Penguin is now.
Yeah.
I think maybe throughout the show as he works his way up, I think we'll start to see less and less of that. Maybe where you start to see a rift between him and Vic.
That's
like I said, he's only going to have to get worse and worse
and
as the show goes
agree.
on.
I think that would make it better, a better reasoning for that, having... being Vic being that grounded character, and then eventually him taking over and realizing I don't need Vic no more, and actually maybe killing him in the end or something like that. Showing his ruthlessness. I think that could work. I like that. It's just I'm not a huge fan of the Vic idea right now.
Yeah, I think you could remove that storyline and just replace it with his mom's storyline.
Yeah,
as his grounded character, like he loves and he cares for his family, the people who looked out for him when he was younger.
Except when it comes to his mom, and to speak on that, she brings out the worst in him. Do you notice that?
Well, that's exactly the same situation with Tony Soprano. They ground Tony with his family, with his mom, but the mom is not a good character, right? Like, brings out the worst, instigates stuff, and then you see the worst from your character.
Yeah, because instead of telling him, "Oh, you're stupid for killing Alberto," instead she was like, "You did what was right."
He made fun of you.
He made fun of you. You took your stand.
Yeah,
and that's not what a mother should say at all. So,
which was very surprising, because at first you thought you were just gonna be like helpless, or something like that.
Exactly. So, with that being said, I do think she kind of brings out a lot of the worst in him and kind of makes him, because she's not a good mother.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder
how big of a part she had to play in him becoming who he is today.
Probably a lot.
And what happened to his brothers, too?
That's also a good question. And I mean, from the trailers and stuff, where you're going to get some insight into his childhood, how he got disabled and what all happened, how he got scarred, all of that stuff we'll get into. And as the future episodes come along, but what was her play? Is she actually his mother, or is she just somebody that's took him in as a young kid, or what's the story there? Because she's not good, as we saw in episode 1.
Yeah.
All right, but the key part I want to talk about this episode gave us was his relationship being bloomed between him and Sophia Falcone. Sophia Falcone, man. The actress is so good.
She's incredible.
Like honestly, she almost stole the show over Colin Farrell. Because what's her name? Kristen Milotti, I think, playing Sophia Falcone. She's so good.
She's a psycho, man.
She's a psychopath.
Terrifying.
And she plays it so well. Like her eyes. She's the hangman, an actual villain.
Okay. So she hangs people.
She does something weird with her heads. Like she puts them she was holding one. Here, I'll see if I can show you a picture of DC's Hangman. She like puts their heads in this like contraption, almost like a Saw game.
Really? Okay.
And and does stuff with them.
Yeah.
Let me see.
The question
she
is,
was holding this.
Why is she out of Arkham? That's my question.
Like she was kind of holding contraption like that.
Too,
yeah. But that's how she is in the comics. But yeah, I think she's out of Arkham, and from the trailer, she goes back at some point.
Yeah.
But she's out of Arkham because she's been rehabilitated. That was so creepy. She's like, I've been rehabilitated.
She's a serial killer, man. Like,
you are a serial killer.
There's a point of no return.
Yep. But anyway, but she also sees right through him as well.
Of course.
As she kind of comes in, she wants to go to dinner with him. They go to dinner and they're talking about Alberto and the line. And that scene was incredible.
I think that might have been the best scene.
That was an incredible scene, except like when they were first talking and they were first just enjoying.
It's very calm.
It's very calm, and then it's like it had a little crack in the conversation, and she starts going, so why did you pitch my brother's plan and all of that stuff and like exactly transpiring
to the Falcones?
Yeah,
because he knew exactly what Alberto had said to him, and he had only repeated it apparently to her.
Yep.
And then you just see like the wheels turning in Penguin's brain, and he turns around right at I didn't know he told you. Yep. Like saying he was playing both of them.
Yes. And he did such a good job turning that around, and you didn't even see him sweat. Like he already had planned all of this in his head.
That's my favorite part, man. Mm-hmm. Just watching Penguin get out of these. He's just a slimy
he's
character,
Saul Goodman, man. He really is. He's that character. He can get out of anything.
He's getting out of anything.
Yeah, that he needs to.
He blames it. He's
a cockroach. He'll survive.
Tells Sophia that he's an addict. He's a druggie. Maybe he wasn't supposed to tell me.
Yeah.
But he
and given the alibi to that night and what was going on and all of that good stuff. But it was an incredible scene of showing Sophia's bit of craziness and then his really resortfulness and doing that. So that was really cool.
Brilliant.
All right, and then we see later of them finding out stuff about him and the car chase, which was really cool scene of them chasing him. And he's so smart, like him hiding in the trunk of the car. I didn't even think he was in the trunk.
Smart,
I thought he had gone.
But you got to think, obviously he can't run, but I thought he was in there too.
I know.
He was in the trunk.
But he was in the trunk, like smart. And then they catch him.
But so you got to think, that also is his character too, because rather than running and hiding amongst the masses, he's hiding in plain sight.
Yep.
He was right there in the car.
Yep. I'm so
genius.
Smart.
Yes.
And I like how he used his car as a weapon. Like he pulled out that blade and he just stabbed the dude.
And earlier he's talking to Vic about the air freshener, right? He's like, "You like it? It's aqua blue."
He's like, "You like that air freshener?"
Pulls it out, and stabs him in the face.
It's actually a weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy.
That's so cool.
That was really cool. And he lets Vic drive it earlier. I thought that was funny too.
I know.
And he's just staring at him while he's driving, just talking to him.
Poor Vic, man.
I know.
I really thought Vic was gonna die at least 2 times.
I know.
Because it was a part where he told him, "Look at the sunrise."
Yep.
Right when they're getting rid of the body, and then in the beginning, before he takes him.
Yep. That's
crazy.
It. Yep. And then, so they get the car chase. Then they do capture Penguin, and then they start to torture him. And she, again, she shows that she's not rehabilitated.
No, man.
Because she stripped him down and everything like they did at Arkham to her. And then he starts torturing, and I was hurting when they were. I was like, I couldn't even watch it.
The barbed wire, ripping up his shoulder.
His skin. I wasn't even watching it. And then trying to get him to confess all this stuff, and then he literally had a teenager get killed because of his selfishness, which is also
he's
crazy.
like, "You're gonna trust that teen over me," and then she just shoots and kills him.
And then he's like, "Whatever."
So he got out of that situation because Vic. I'm confused about this part. Remember, so the car crashes into the Falcone mansion with Alberto's body in the back.
Yes,
that was Vic who did that.
It was Vic, but they're blaming it on the Maronis.
I'm saying, how did Vic even do that? They would have seen him.
They had the plan. I don't know how. Like he had the car, I guess, a distance away because it's a big country farm.
Because it's on a road, then it turns in,
guess.
but then he would have to get out and put the cinder block on the gas. I don't know
how he pulled it off.
Because the whole thing is showing how like incompetent Vic is. He's not using his life
like
of
he
crime.
can't do that.
And then
how did he take his pinky off?
He probably went back. I think. Well, we know he did that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he went back and got someone else's help with it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, they get that, and their whole goal was to blame the Maronis for his death and save Penguin's butt, and also to take his pinky off because he was wearing Maroni's ring. And then when he went and met with Maroni at Arkham, he gave him back his ring.
That was brilliant.
It was brilliant. He was
That's
so
Mr.
smart.
Krabs. You know that, right?
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? He's also a lot of other voice actors.
Way.
He's also in The Mandalorian, and he's in a lot of other stuff.
That part was really cool because Penguin is basing everything on Maroni, not telling the Falcons that it was him who gave the ring.
Yep. And then Maronis are crazy. And he knew the Maronis were so prideful that they would take advantage of that and be like, yeah, we did it.
Credit for it.
Yeah, they take credit.
Because he's just telling Maroni how badly, they've smearing his name and how they've profited off of his success. And obviously, he's not going to stand for that. Which is crazy because everyone knows who the Penguin is and that he's not trustworthy. But he's so good at talking himself in out situations that he stays alive.
Yep.
I love seeing that.
It's fire.
The interaction he has with Maroni in the beginning where Maroni's on Soul and he gets up to leave and he turns around and puts the ring on the table. Woo! That scene was good, man.
I agree. It's super cool. All the stuff that they're having with that. But what an incredible episode. And then it ends like that. And it shows him and Vic kind of taking that mentorship thing to the next level.
Yeah.
But a really good start to what I'm assuming will be an incredible series, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Like I said, I think they've continued doing everything right from the Batman. Like I said, the only little thing would probably be at least Vic's storyline, but I really don't think that it's going to go anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if Penguin kills him kind of at the end of the show, like once and for all, severing his tie kind of with his own humanity.
At some point.
Which I think that would be a cool concept.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we'll see how they pull that off.
Yeah. I'm interested to see, is Sophia Falcone as the Hangman, is she the villain of this show? Or is there another underlining villain we haven't seen yet that's going to kind of take shape? I'm curious to see that as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it is just Sophia Falcone, I'm not mad.
I think that's completely fine. Mm-hmm. I mean, the entirety of the show will be about them two fighting for power in Gotham.
Yeah, but we see her going back to Arkham, so there's got to be some type of underlying thing.
Yeah, she's going to break out again.
That happens, so we'll see with that. But a great start to what I'm sure will be a great series, and I'm looking forward to the next few.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for listening to this episode. And as always, if you liked it, please let us know by giving us a download and a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. We have a new feature on our episodes where you can send us a text message by following the link at the bottom of our episodes. You can shoot your questions for Heroes Q&A there, or just shoot us a DM on Instagram. Speaking of, be sure to also check out our Instagram stories weekly for a chance to ask questions for our Q&A segments. Also, if you want exclusive access to episodes, please subscribe to our new membership, Heroes HQ. And then finally, feel free to also check out our YouTube channel and Instagram at Heroes in the Moment.
And we just want to thank y'all for listening. And as always, we love you 3000.